In today's session, we'll be learning about the 8th chapter of Standard 8, that is cell structure and functions. The topics to be discussed are: what is a cell, discovery of the cell, variety of organisms on the basis of cell number, cell shape, and cell size, the essential parts of the cell that include cell membrane or the plasma membrane, cell wall, cytoplasm, and the nucleus, and finally, comparison between plant cell and animal cell. All living organisms are composed of cells. Cell is the smallest unit of life. Let me explain it to you all with an example. A building is made up of many stories. The stories are in turn made up of rooms. The rooms are made up of walls, and the walls are made up of bricks. So we can say that brick is the smallest unit of the building. In the same way, living organisms are made up of organ systems, such as the nervous system, the circulatory system, the digestive system, the respiratory system, and so on. The organ systems are made up of organs like the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, intestines, liver, kidney, stomach, lungs, etc. And the organs are made up of tissues, which are a group of cells. So, we can say that cell is the smallest unit of life, or it is a fundamental unit of life, or it is the basic unit of life. Therefore, cell can be defined as the basic or the fundamental or the smallest unit of life. Now we'll discuss about how this cell was discovered. The cell was discovered by a scientist known as Robert Hooke in 1665. He observed cork cells under his self-designed microscope. Cork is the bark of a tree. So, he observed a thin section of this cork cells under his microscope, and he saw tiny compartments. These compartments resembled honeycomb structures. As you all know that the bark is composed of dead cells. So, there was literally nothing within these tiny compartments, and he named them as cells. Because in Latin word, a tiny room or a tiny compartment is called as a cell. After that, Anton von Leeuwenhoek, he observed living organisms in pond water. He observed the cells of the living organisms. From that, we came to know that all the living organisms are composed of cells. But Robert Hooke was given the credit for discovering the cell, though it was a dead cell. Now we'll be discussing about the variety of organisms on the basis of the number of cells. There are basically two types of organisms on the basis of the number of cells. The first one is unicellular organisms. These organisms are composed of a single cell. That single cell performs all the activities for the organism, like intake of food, digestion, respiration, circulation, excretion, etc. For example, amoeba, paramecium, yeast, etc. Now, the next category is that of multicellular organisms. These organisms have multiple number of cells. The cells may range from millions to billions of cells, and the cells are aggregated together, and a group of cells are assigned a task. So there are many groups of cells, and all these groups of cells are performing different functions. So in multicellular organisms, we can see division of labor. Division of labor is a characteristic feature of multicellular organisms, which is not seen in unicellular organisms, because in unicellular organisms, there is a single cell, and there is no choice. That single cell has to perform all the functions of the body. Some of the examples of multicellular organisms are a tree, bird, mouse, whale, humans, dog, cat, etc. Cells are of various shapes and sizes too. We'll be discussing about the variety of shapes of cells. The nerve cells are very long, because they have to transmit the messages from the brain to the body parts and from the body parts back to the brain, which has to be taking place very quickly. Therefore, they are long. The muscle cells are spindle-shaped so that they can easily contract and relax to produce movement in the body. Red blood cells or RBCs are biconcave in shape so that they can pass easily through the capillaries, which are very thin. The WBCs, they do not have any definite shape so that they can squeeze easily and pass through the capillaries. So this is all about the variety of shapes of cells. Now, the cells are of various sizes too. The smallest cell is that of mycoplasma, which is the type of bacteria, and it ranges from 0.1 to 0.5 micrometers in diameter. Even the largest cell is that of an ostrich's egg, which is about 170 millimeter by 130 millimeter. And the longest cell is that of the nerve cell, which can vary up to 1 meter in length. So, all the shapes and sizes of the cells are because of the functions they need to perform. Now you can see the picture of a plant cell and an animal cell. The four most essential parts of cells are the cell membrane, the cell wall, which is only found in plant cells, the cytoplasm, and the nucleus. Cell membrane is the outermost covering of an animal cell. It's also present in plant cells. The cell wall is a characteristic feature of plant cells. It is only present in plants. It may also be present in certain bacteria. The cytoplasm is a fluid-like substance present in all the cells. They consist of or they contain the cell organelles. The nucleus is a control center of the cell. It is the most essential part of the cell, which controls all the activities taking place in the cell. It is usually spherical in structure. There are certain cell organelles like the Golgi apparatus, the chloroplast, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, lysosomes, and vacuoles, which are present in all the cells. We'll be discussing about the cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. The cell organelles will be studied later in higher classes. The cell membrane is the outermost layer in all the animal cells. It is also present in plant cells. The cell membrane is also known as the plasma membrane. It separates one cell from another cell. It also separates a cell from the surrounding medium. It is a living layer and it is semi-permeable in nature. That is, it allows certain substances to enter into the cell and certain substances to leave the cell. It does not allow all the substances to freely move into and out of the cell. So it is semi-permeable in nature. And plasma membrane also provides shape and support to the animal cells. The next essential part of the cell is the cell wall. Cell wall is a characteristic feature of plant cells only. Cell wall is a non-living membrane and it is freely permeable. It allows all the substances to enter and leave the cell. So it is freely permeable. It is composed of cellulose. The cell wall provides shape, size, support, and rigidity to the plant cells. The most essential part of the cell is the nucleus. Nucleus is having a spherical structure and is located somewhat at the center of the cell. It has a membrane called the nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane has tiny holes on it called the nuclear pores, through which substances enter and leave the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, there are thread-like structures called the chromosomes. The chromosomes contain genes, not the genes that you wear. These are the genes that are responsible for transmission of characters from the parents to the offsprings, that is, genes. It is because of these genes that we look somewhat similar to our parents. We possess certain characteristics like our parents. So, inside these genes, there are again some segments of these genes are called the DNA or the deoxyribonucleic acid. The nucleus controls all the activities of the cell. Cytoplasm is a fluid-like substance present in the cell. It contains the cell organelles. All chemical reactions occur in the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is present within the cell membrane and the nuclear membrane. Well, protoplasm is the living component of the cell. It includes the cell membrane, nucleus, and the cytoplasm. So we can say that cytoplasm is a part of the protoplasm.
Now let's take a look at the comparison between plant cell and animal cells. Cell wall is present in case of plant cells, whereas the cell wall is absent in case of animal cells. Chloroplast is present in a plant cell, and chloroplast is absent in an animal cell. Vacuoles are bigger in size in case of plant cells. Vacuoles are smaller or there are no vacuoles in case of animal cells. The nucleus is located towards the periphery in the plant cell, whereas the nucleus is located at the center in an animal cell.